All right, moving on to the paper embellishments or the paper details. After you have all 4 layers done and you're looking at your work, you need to figure out where you want to put the paper details. You are required to put them on at least 1 layer. You can put them on more layers if you want. You just kind of have to decide what's best for your landscape or scenery. There's 2 options. There's flat details that just lay flat against the paper, or there's quote unquote floating details. Say if I wanted to add another tree onto here, it would be floating off of my edge, not flat on my edge. So flat just means like 100% of it is adhered to the flat surface. Floating means only a little piece is adhered, the rest is floating off the edge. Both options are totally okay. The only option for adhesion is to use Elmer's glue, and we want to use a no-show method. And then as far as cutting, you actually have a few options. You can continue to cut your details using an X-Acto knife, which is the recommended. If you would rather use some scissors, like say that you have a bunch of straight lines that you want to add, scissors could be a little bit quicker than an X-Acto knife. And then the last thing is you could possibly use paper punchers for something. Sometimes it's hard to cut stars. Sometimes these little stampers are easier. So when you are deciding what your details are going to be, it's important to take into account what your work already looks like. So I know that in the background of my sunset, I want to have a sun. So I'm going to put these other 2 layers to the side, and I need to actually figure out where the sun would be. And I'm going to be adhering that to my orange piece of paper. So I'm going to trace. So I'm going to take my yellow paper, and even though I know orange is the background, I'm going to put the yellow behind the pink. That way I'm directly drawing on what I know I want, because I want to incorporate this curve that I have. And I'm going to kind of just draw some clouds like this. And the same thing goes for my Harry Potter theme. I want to have some black flames back here, so I'm going to take my other layers off, put the black behind, and decide based off of where my last layer lays where I need it. And a little hint is since I'm laying it flat, I don't have to have those be individual shapes. I can make it into one shape, like that, so that it's easier to glue and it's a little bit more stable. If you're someone that wants to have something popping out of somewhere, like say if I want to, on this Hogwarts scene, I want to like have the dark mark sticking out from the side. I don't know, so like kind of like a skull and a snake, like that. You want to know where your edge is, so I'm kind of put a dotted line there. And because I want to make sure, if I just put these 2 shapes together, there's nowhere for one to stick to one. So because we're using a no-show method, you want to make sure that you have like a tab off to the side. So when I take this away, I'm going to actually extend this out a little bit, and this will go behind my black layer, allowing it to still stick out, but to be sort of a no-show design. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all the things that I want to add. If you don't know how to use one of these paper stampers, there is a little slot. All you do is you put the paper in and you push down on the button. And then some of them just come out automatically. Some of them you have to pick this little thing up. When you are putting on your flat details or your floating details, before you actually glue everything down, I like to double check my work. So I just kind of like to put it behind something. And then on the paper it's going to be going on, I like to just make some little teeny tiny, only for me to see really, dots, so that you know where to put them. And then move your paper a little bit to the side. And with a piece of some sort of scrap paper, we want to make sure that the glue is not on the background, because it will show the acid or something in the Astrobites reacts to it. So make sure you're gluing on the side that goes down, and make sure you're gluing on the little piece, not on the actual paper that you're going to be gluing it down. So make sure that all the edges are coated. Make sure you don't have any chunks, and try not to get glue on the other side. Try and keep it that no-show, that clean look. Then line it up where it's supposed to be, and then just simply place it down. double check that it looks correct, which it does. And then that's how you do the flat ones. I'm going to do my sunset real fast. So when it comes to things that are the free-floating nature that we talked about, we really want to make sure that we are knowing where we need to put the glue. The glue does not need to go on the whole entire thing here. The glue only needs to go where I have the dotted line. Then put your paper on. Carefully flip over your layer, make sure that it's adhered, and then just before it fully dries, make sure it's in the right place for making sense for your picture for a floating element.